Welcome to Two Across, the podcast where two friends sitting once again on opposite sides of the Atlantic catch up over a crossword. I'm Theo Bosanquet, sitting in London.
And I'm Rob Cole, sitting in Montreal.
So you're back, Rob.
I'm back.
On terra firma.
Yeah, on terra firma.
Terra Canadia.
From one island to another island, this one being a little smaller.
Of course, I always forget Montreal's an island.
It is. So I'm on my natal island, enjoying the slow dawning of spring. The weather has now reliably gotten kind of into the mid-teens, and so all of the foliage is starting to foliate.
Nice.
Yeah.
How's things been since you returned?
Yeah, fine, I guess. When did I get back? Maybe four or 5 days ago? Yeah, good. You know, a jet lag adjustment is pretty quick these days for me. When you do it a lot, you just sort of, your body gets used to the adjustment really quickly. So, yeah, adjustment good. Yeah. You know, spring, so lots of things going on in kid world, concerts and all manner of other thing. What about you?
Yeah, similar. Feels like the spring is fully in swing, and the kids are busy. My daughter's decided to take up guitar, much to my great pleasure, and has her first lesson today, in fact. It's all thanks to Taylor Swift. My daughter is 10 and is a fully signed up Swiftie. So yes, she has been inspired by her idol to pick up a guitar and hopefully release, multi-billion selling albums any day now. So watch this space.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere.
You do.
So where do they start these days? Do they start with Smoke on the Water like we did, or I guess that they got to start somewhere else?
The only song she knows so far was taught to her by my sister, who is a languages teacher. So she taught her Frere Jacques, which involves only a single chord, or at least in the version that my daughter plays. So, from such acorns, enormous musical oaks will surely blossom. So, that's cool. She's at a science trip today, actually, on a school trip to the school trip to the Science Museum. But she was rather disappointed because they're planning to visit the space section, and she's not that into space. It's my little one who's the real space nerd. So
right.
There was a bit of grumbling about that, but no, it's all good, and we've got a series of weekend jaunts ahead of us, starting this weekend with a visit to Bristol, which is where Kate and I both went to university.
Yeah, I was going to say your old stomping grounds.
Old stomping grounds. So yeah, we still got lots of friends who live there, so we're going to go and see some of them.
Hopefully not run afoul of the vicious chicken.
Oh yeah, of course. Yes. No. Hopefully the vicious poultry will not gouge our eyes out, or whatever said vicious chicken does.
It's always a risk.
It's always a risk. So, in the great tradition of Two Across, I wanted to extend an apology, and
Another.
It was for a mistake I made in the last episode, and I can't actually remember what the mistake was now. I just listened to it before we recorded this, so it was fresh on my mind, and I've immediately forgotten what the mistake was. So my apology is for offering an apology and then immediately forgetting what the apology was. But maybe it's just a blanket apology for any.
Yeah, it's like a wild card apology. We could issue one right now for what we are about to do. We'll issue that apology to our listeners.
Yes, absolutely. A preemptive apology for what is about to occur. Although, excitingly, we are now ahead for the first time in the series. We are 9-8, I believe, in the lead over the Guardian Quick Crossword Setter / Collins Quick Crossword Setter. So we can kind of, hopefully not rest on our laurels, but we're not in danger of falling behind today, although we are in danger of drawing level. So
yeah, overconfidence is definitely set in my side. I've been bragging to everyone about my feats, skills, and crossword completion. Everyone's very impressed right now, and everyone down at the pub is just really So today's the
Yeah.
day for the fall, where our pride
Indeed.
is about to goeth as we speak. It is going.
Well, let's put our pride to the test with Guardian Quick Crossword number 16,843.
So are we in a Groundhog Day situation where we're continually playing Guardian Crossword 16,843? Because it feels like I don't know why, that looks very familiar. It feels like the last 5 crosswords in a row were 16,843. So for our listeners who have a sci-fi bent, I think we're caught in a temporal vortex where we just keep repeating the same crossword, and you are chained to listening to Two Across eternally over and over again, like Bill Murray to his alarm clock radio in the morning. Yeah. There's a nice image.
There is a nice image, and I do concur that it does feel like we've been playing this exact crossword every single time. But looking at the first clue, it is definitely a new one, because this first clue is a bit of a strange one, and it's so I started the clock, by the way, 30 minutes. It's one across, tap disc dash user of tap exclamation mark.
Yeah.
What is that, Guardian?
So
tap disc.
I suggest that we get the first letter of that by going one down, which is a Japanese condiment, 6 letters long.
Well, I've got a guess for that, which is probably the same as your guess.
Potentially.
Beginning with W?
Beginning with W.
Wasabi.
Wasabi. And then I think, because I was looking ahead, and 8 across I think is gettable. It's an anagram.
In fact, a double anagram, Rob.
It is a double anagram of roans, which are small horses. Are they not? A roan, is that not something horsey?
I have no idea.
I think so. ROANS, and then arson. So this is an anagram of those 2 words, starting with the letter S, if we believe wasabi is correct.
That's very interesting.
I think I have a guess at that. I think it's sonar.
Oh, great anagrammer that you are.
Yeah.
We've done it again. We did discuss labeling anagrams, something specific.
We did.
To across, didn't we? And came up with, I can't remember what we came up with. Did we talk, was it grannies or something?
I think it was grandma's grandma's is an anagram of grandma.
Yeah.
Of course, it's not perfect. I guess there should be 2 M's there technically, but grandma sounds better than grandma. Anyway.
Grammar sounds a bit the Waltons, you know?
Yes, the Waltons. Holy crap.
Yeah.
So I think the Waltons, by the way, were a series that were created for British TV to look like an American show that Americans watch, but it was only watched in Britain, because I never saw the Waltons when I was in Canada. But when I was in the UK, every summer we'd sit and watch the Waltons.
Every single episode of the Waltons was exactly the same. I can only really remember the credits and the famous "Good night, Grandma," "Good night, Billy Bob," or whatever they did at the end, you know. And I think you're right. It was definitely the American prairie life neatly packaged up for a UK audience, and that doesn't surprise me that it was not staple viewing in the country of its origin, because it always felt a little,
it was almost too kind of campy. Pioneer Americana, Frontier Americana.
It was Frontier Americana, yeah. Okay, Rob, 10 across. Petrol additive. 7 letters beginning with B.
Yeah, this is where I need some British help. It's probably some word. You know, petrol, for instance, already a problematic word.
This is something like butane.
Well, there's butane.
It's got an H in it, though, hasn't it? I think it's Buthane, but I'm basing that on very, very sketchy knowledge. So
I've got something. I think I know 3 down, which would help us. Okay. Unfortunately, it would help us realize that butane doesn't fit, because it's a bird of prey's nest, 5 letters down. That this is a very Rupert Bear sort of word. You would imagine Rupert being carried to one of these along with his friend Pong Ping. I believe it's an airy.
Oh, wow.
I think it's another AE word.
And are you spelling so AER and then AY or what?
No, I think it's AERIE.
Wow.
Unless it's
Well done, Rob.
EY, unless it's, shoot. How is it spelled? Because it could be EYRIE as well. Airy. This is one that I get a bit.
Could it be butene, therefore?
It could be. Yeah.
I mean, I have absolutely no other guesses for that.
Yeah, and I'm still confused on airy, whether it's AE. I'm wondering if I'm getting lulled by last week's AE clues, and if it's not EYRIE. Anyway, let's look at that later.
2 down is slightly confusing me because it's the clue is word with same meaning, which I would assume is synonym.
It fits.
Actually, it's not confusing me. It just proves that butane is wrong.
Yeah. I think that's one that we want to fit, but maybe it doesn't. So tap disk or user of tap with an exclamation mark is W space S space potentially A or E space. I don't even know what tap disk means.
Do you know what I think it might be?
What?
And I think this is going to throw your airy out.
Okay.
I think it's washer.
But it throws my first spelling out, but not the alternate spelling I'm offering, which was EYRIE.
Oh, yes.
So it
right.
disconfirms the first, but it confirms the second. I was a bit uncertain to that.
So yes, well that confirms Irie then.
Yeah.
EYRIE, yeah?
Everything Irie. Yeah.
Okay.
Petrol additive. Go ahead.
B space N space E space space.
Yeah. Still don't know what that is, but let's keep moving into the crossword because we can get another letter off that. So do you want to try 12 across?
Yeah. Which is technique where 24 acrosses are inlaid into wood for decoration. 9 letters. So let's have a look at 24 across. 24 across is attractive appearance that covers true nature or feelings.
So that's got to be a veneer.
A veneer, yeah.
Now, how do you spell veneer, Theo?
VENEER.
Okay, that's how I have it as well. I just wanted to confirm that. Okay, so technique, so 12 across is now technique where a veneer or veneers are inlaid into wood for decoration. I think we'll have to come back to that once we have more letters because it is 9 across starting with M for our listeners. Okay, so I think there's a few here we can get that veneer. 20 down is a French woman, 5 letters ending in E.
Madame? No.
No, too long. I believe it is a femme.
Oh, femme, yeah.
FEMME.
Which means 19 across, which is crime, 7 letters, has a third letter of F. Crime.
Yeah.
That could be a offense.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's right. And then looking at 14 down, I think this will confirm it, or let's look at 22 across. Totem. It's an anagram. It is totem. It's an anagram of totem. TOTEM.
It's a grammar.
It's 5 letters long. It's a grammar. It starts with M. It's 5 letters long, and I believe it's a mott, like a Mott and Bailey Castle. MOTTE.
Oh, nice.
I think that's the only thing that would fit there.
Although I'm going to throw that out, I'm afraid, because 16 down is the clue is amusing medieval entertainer, 6 letters, which surely has to be jester.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Oh, darn. I was happy with my mott.
So therefore...
Okay, well, let's take those letters out. So anyway, T is definitely right. 14 down is a river that flows to the East China Sea. That's 7 letters long, third letter N, as in Nancy, and last letter E, which I believe would be the Yangtze.
Oh, yeah.
So, or the Yangtze. Now, do we write that TZE or TSE?
So I've gone ZE,
Okay.
but could it be one of those where there's a couple of spellings? I don't know. That could be a banana skin.
It could be.
Yangtze.
I think I like Z as well. So let's stick with Z. And we can, if we have time at the end, we can debate it. And that'll be scintillating listening. So for those who can't wait for that discussion, just fast forward maybe 15 minutes when Theo and I agonize over the spelling of Yangtze.
And then inevitably get it wrong. Okay, so that means our anagram then has to be motet.
Can you tell me what that is?
It's something to do with music, and I'm not entirely sure what. I think.
All right. More exciting things to look up?
It can't be a metot.
No.
But motet is definitely a thing. I'm just not entirely sure what exactly it is. I think it might be like a short. I know I'm not even going to guess because I'm definitely going to make a tit out of myself. So let's just move on swiftly.
Yep. Fine.
Okay, this technique where 24 crosses are inlaid into wood for decoration is now ending in a Y. So it starts in M and ends in Y, and this is going to be some technical craft term that we're just not going to know. So I think we just have to fill out as many letters as we can and then guess, don't we?
Let's take 23 across, which is an anagram of bather. BATHER. And I think I know what this one is too, because I think the T and H need to stay together, which would suggest that the only thing that worked would be breath.
Very nice.
That seems to work.
Yeah.
And then we've got,
Excellent.
Here's one for you, Theo. 13 down, read someone the. It means formerly worn. Yeah. It's 4 and 3.
So that's riot act.
Yeah.
Regularly heard in this house.
Is it?
Actually, do you know what? I think I said that the other day, and my daughter said, "What is the riot act?" And I said, "I don't actually know. Let's look it up." So then we looked it up, and there is an actual riot act, which was basically the first law concerning the right to gather as people and, to protest. That is the riot act. So it is a real thing. It's a sort of way of containing their riot, because you're saying, hang on, numbers are limited and violence is prohibited and all that sort of thing. So
yeah,
it's quite interesting. Yeah.
Only 10 members of the peasantry may gather on any one hill at any one time. If any of said peasants are literate, they shall be immediately banned from said hill for risk of stirring up the mob.
Yes.
Yeah.
If peasants' demands for rental controls are overly ambitious, they shall immediately be declined and their heads cut off and cattle confiscated. So, just nice reasonable stuff like that. One for you, Rob. 17 across. US youth? ? 5 letters ending in O.
I have no idea. Nothing.
I'm thinking it's going to be something like, no, I can't even think of an example. But a very colloquial American term for kids,
Yeah, something.
No.
Time check, Theo?
14 minutes and 17 seconds.
Okay, we are not doing particularly well.
We're not, are we?
No, let's get moving on this guy. So what about a stone fruit? 18 down for a stone fruit.
Ending in E?
Ending in E, 5 letters.
Prune, or... No, that's too long. Oh, no, it's not. It fits.
But it's the fruit is the plum, the prune is the dried
Yeah.
version thereof.
Yeah.
I mean, a green gage, a
Um,
plum, a peach, an apricot, a
I can't think of any ending in E.
nor can I.
Apple is not a stone
No.
fruit.
Not a stone fruit.
Okay, let's move on. I've got one that I think is a slam dunk. It's 7 down, belief in at least one God. 6 letters. Could it be theism?
I think so.
To flash
think
back
so.
to our conversation from the episode before last on religion.
Yes. Good. A theism. So now 4 across. By the way, as a side note on that, I heard an interesting term for the religious right that's sort of hijacking the Republican Party in America. They call them theocons, which I thought was a cute little term.
Yeah. A terrible abuse of my name.
Yeah, exactly. Not people like you who are conservative. Anyway, so theism.
Or
we've
indeed
got...
holding a convention to celebrate Theos. We could have a
Yes,
Theocon.
exactly. Theocon 2024.
Based on my experience, it would largely be populated by 6-year-old boys.
Yes.
All the youth seem to be called Theo these days. Right, let's motor on. We've got...
Okay, 4 across and 5 down. 4 across is a pipsqueak, which I think it ends in T and it's 6 letters long. I think that could be a squirt.
Yeah, sure.
Like, hey there, squirt. Because I think a group of 5 players, 7 down starting in Q. Sorry, 5 down starting in Q, 7 letters long. Could be... I think that's reasonably self-evident.
Quintet.
A quintet. 6 down, where emails arrive, starting in I, 5 letters long.
Inbox.
All right. This is good.
This is like call and response.
Yeah, exactly. Cavill. Space I, space B, space E. It's 7 letters long, which I think could be quibble.
Quibble. I was going to say quibble. Another Q theme. And also 11 across, which is large US state with a T, X, and an S, I think we can assume, is...
Taxis.
Yeah. The stomping ground of George W. 9 down. Petulant. 9 letters beginning with Q.
I believe we're hearkening back to episode 14, if I'm not mistaken, on this one.
Go on. You're going to have to remind me.
I believe it is querulous.
I feel like we've had that about 6 times.
It keeps coming back.
It does keep coming back. Now, this unfortunately means we have all the letters for our technique where veneers are inlaid into wood. And it's M, blank R, blank O, blank T, blank Y.
So I'm going to just take a guess. I'm going to take a guess for this one. Because I'm going to say it's marquetry. Because there's a lot of Q's. So M space R space U. So a Q could fit in that slot. At between the T and the Y, it's probably got to be an R. Because it's a technique. You know, like basketry or something like that. So I think that R's got to fit, right? So I'm going to say, you know, like parquet, for instance. You know, like parquet flooring. It's a similar thing to inlaying.
The thing that puts me off that, it's the Q followed by the O. I think that's quite
No, it's not an O. It's not an O. It's a U. Remember, it's querulous.
Oh, gosh. Sorry, yes. Oh, yeah. Okay. No, I like that better. Yeah. Okay, marquetry. Yeah. Why
it's
not?
a guess, but...
We haven't got anything better.
Because parquet is spelt that way, right? P-A-R-Q-U-E-T.
Yeah.
And parquet
Correct.
is basically that. It's inlaying veneers to create a sort of pattern.
Okay. Marquetry, yeah. Okay. Let's.
Well, I don't know.
If it's that, Rob, I don't know what prize I can give you, but I will think of something.
You can inlay me a really nice plaque.
Veneer.
of different wooden veneers that you've harvested from dead trees in Brockwell Park. That would be really
deal.
something.
Yeah. I will whittle myself a crest for you.
Thank you.
This petrol additive is still, again, we have all letters for it. It's B blank N blank E blank E.
Yeah.
So
B blank N blank E blank E. And I think I think this is our Waterloo there. I don't see us getting through that one. But let's look at the bottom left where we have a few undone as well.
See if we can get this bloody stone fruit.
Oh my gosh. Here's an easy one we haven't looked at. Well, I say that in a very tongue-in-cheek fashion because it's 6 down, ending in B, and it is a bicycle type frame on blades used in winter sports. Yeah.
This is 15 down, yeah? Bicycle type frame on blades.
It must be ski something because otherwise they would have said on skis. Like a ski bob or something?
A ski bob. I think that's a thing.
Oh, and look at this. It gives us a K for U.S. youth. K ending in O.
Kiddo?
Yeah. This is good. We got our
Hey,
ski bob
kiddo.
and our kid.
They'd say that in the Waltons.
They would. They would.
Kiddo. Okay, so stone fruit now begins with D. So could that be... Well, I was going to say date, but that doesn't work either. Oh, come on. We can get 21 across, which is a German architectural style, 7 letters, because begins with B, 5th letter A, and ends in S. I believe that's Bauhaus.
Oh, nice, Theo. I was staring at that and I was like, what could this be?
Okay,
Nice
which
one.
means our stone fruit is now D blank U blank E. So this could be a fruit I've never heard of. A droon.
Yeah, or a druze, but a druze is a...
Oh my word.
Yeah.
Are we going to guess droon and then kick ourselves because it'll be something really obvious? We're going to have to guess droon, aren't we?
Or druze.
Ah. Doesn't sound like a fruit, but then nor does droon. Just pass me a droon.
Pass me the bowl of droons.
A dlump. Oh, it could be an R. Oh no, we've already got R. No.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got basically this comes down to 2 guesses. We've got 4 minutes, and the guesses are for the stone fruit and the petrol additive.
Oh, I've got the petrol additive.
Huge. Go on.
It's benzene.
Oh, like I don't know. I can't think of an example, but they use it a lot. They talk about benzene in Formula 1 and stuff, don't they? As being a thing.
Yes, they do.
Well done, Rob.
Yep. So
bear
what about
in
a
mind,
droop?
We're definitely going to fail this. A droop.
DRUPE.
You prefer that to droon?
I don't feel droon. I think I've seen a droop before though. DRUPE. I don't know.
Okay.
Look, I'm pulling it. I mean, okay, so we have a few speculative ones today, okay? So motet being one that we said we'd come back to, listeners, and we do fulfill our promises here on Two Across. So it's either a metot or a motet, because recalling that it is a anagram of totem, and so that's and when the M space T is assured, so it's either a metot or a motet, and we, in our infinite wisdom, have gone with a motet. We have the technique where a veneer or veneers are inlaid into wood for decoration, and we've decided to call that marquetry. We have no clue. Both of us, being huge, mad, rabid Formula One fans, immediately got benzene as a petrol additive. by the way, Bauhaus, that's my get of the day so far. I'm willing to call that before we even get into the thing. And then we've got our stone fruit, which is D space U space E. Theo is going with Droon, and I'm thinking droop. I did think of Druze as well, but I think Druze is a religious sect somehow, and I can't remember what. But I feel like I've seen a droop before in a crossword, D-R-U-P-E. But again, as we said before we started, friends, pride goeth before the fall. So is that just mislaid pride? But we have a finished crossword. So it seems like it's down to Droon or droop. Theo, what are you thinking?
I'm just going through any alternatives to both of those, which D blank U, the only letter that could, if it's not an R, it could be, I suppose it could be an L or an O.
Dla.
But neither of those sound plausible.
Could be an A, it could be an O, could be an E, like a deuce.
A doubt. A doubt. A do. I mean,
a doot.
We're in. So if it was O, D-O-U blank E, a doula. A doula could be a fruit, couldn't it?
Could be.
I think a doula is a midwife. Yeah.
She at birthing age, she's the midwife's kind of sidekick, as I recall. A doula can't alone birth your baby, maybe under extreme circumstances, but can coach you through the process and is there to help you. Yeah. The other thing we promised our listeners and didn't get back to was the Yangtze, whether it was Z or S, and we'd both gone with Z. I'm confident. Well, confident. I think we just go with that.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
I'm saying droop.
Time's up, Rob. We're going droop. Okay, where do you want to start with this hot mess of a crossword we've just completed?
Let's go for an easy one and check benzene.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay. We're going to do this word by word. So is petrol additive
for a moment before we humble ourselves? We did put all the letters into this one.
It's true. It is. Every box is filled with a letter. I want to save marquetry for last, by the way, because
okay, because
that is my favorite guess of the day.
Insanely speculative.
I'm just going to eat my droop and do some marquetry.
Both seem like real medieval pursuits.
Yeah, they do. Right, benzene. Here we go. Check this. It's correct.
All right.
Okay, that's a good start.
So that's one of 5 speculatives. Do we want to hit Yangtze next?
Yeah, let's go Yangtze. So this is the big spelling question. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
And it's correct.
All right, so
yes,
Yangtze with the Z.
Motet. Do you want to check motet?
Let's do it.
Okay, and it is also correct, Rob.
Oh, man. Okay, 3 of 3. Now we have our 2 most speculative, marquetry and a droop.
Well, let's go droop first.
All right.
I have a horrible feeling about this, but anyway, let's go.
I feel good. I feel really, really good.
You do it, Rob. You do the reveal because it was more your guess than mine. Right. Go on.
All right. I'm going to have to be the bearer of good news. Ready? Check this. Bam. Go. It's a droop.
This is huge. So it's all come down to marquetry.
So for our listeners, for our listener woodworkers who are sitting in their shop right now in their garage, listening to Two Across as they faithfully do every Thursday afternoon, and thinking, yeah, freaking morons, like marquetry, what are you doing? It's a technique where veneers are inlaid into wood for decoration. And we guessed marquetry, M-A-R-Q-U-E-T-R-Y. Are you ready?
We're
You
ready.
want to reveal
Rob.
it? Go for
I'm
it. I'm confident it's going to
Rob.
happen.
Brace yourself. Are you ready?
I'm bracing. I'm ready.
It's correct. It's correct. I can't believe this. I mean, that is,
Wow.
never mind get of the day, that is get of the series. That is incredible. I'm now going to Google marquetry and just see what,
Oh my gosh.
what we're dealing with. And absolutely, very beautiful veneer inlaid wood is coming up on my Google feed.
Could you describe
Wow.
it, what you're seeing, Theo, for our listeners, and then I will get into droop.
Okay, so what I'm seeing, the first image that has come up is it looks to be like a floor. And as you said, it's quite similar to parquet in that you've got different pieces of wood inlaid into each other in a pattern. Only it's not a kind of uniform pattern. It has, in this case, a lovely star shape in the middle. So it's the sort of thing you might see in an old, in a grand house or a sort of entertaining space of some medieval pile.
Or a Harry Potter set.
Yeah, that kind of thing. It has a definite kind of medieval baronial vibe to it, and you can also do pictures and all sorts. Have a look, people. Look it up. Some marquetry. There you go. A word of the day.
Consider that for your next home improvement project, to have some nice marquetry done in your entrance hall.
Please try and use marquetry at all possible junctures in the coming week. Whenever you, if you're talking to a tradesperson, for example, maybe suggest that they could do a little marquetry for you on your dining room floor.
Yeah, or if,
to,
for instance, you're walking into the Hall of Actuaries in central London and you can admire to your companion the fine marquetry in the middle of the hall.
I just have to say that's some of the best marquetry I've seen in recent weeks. That's just fabulous.
Oh,
that sort of thing.
I didn't know you were a fellow enthusiast. Whereupon
the wonderful thing about absolutely, you'll suddenly be surrounded by amateur woodwork enthusiasts, and
and then you're shown up for only knowing the word and not knowing anything else about it, and you'll look like the charlatan that you are. But for a brief moment, you stand to look rather clever.
Yeah. Like when you confidently order a drink in a foreign tongue because that's the one phrase that you've learned, and then the barman asks you a question in response, and then you have to immediately give up. That sort of thing.
Give up the game.
So well done again, Rob, for that get. That was absolutely top draw crossword.
Yeah. Wow. I'm actually astonished that we actually pulled that off. I had written that one off for dead probably 15 minutes in.
I'll tell you what we haven't done, and that we haven't actually checked all, which we should just do because we don't want to get too complacent. But we're right. We are right, Rob.
Oh my gosh.
Across the board.
Wow.
There are no errors.
So Theo, I have some update on our listeners on what a droop is.
Oh, please. Yes, that's
a droop.
Yeah, go on.
In botany is an indehiscent type of fruit. I don't know how to indehiscent type of fruit. So anyone who wants to tell us what indehiscent means, you can write us at twoacrosspod@gmail.com. We would appreciate some enlightenment on that topic, in which an outer fleshy part, otherwise known as an exocarp, surrounds a single shell, stone, or pyrena of hardened endocarp with a seed inside. That doesn't tell me anything about what it tastes like, what color it is, whether I would like to have it with ice cream, whether it goes well in a pie or a crumble. Nothing. They have denuded the droop of all of its characteristics and rendered it completely sterile. Frankly, Wikipedia, I am disappointed. I have a little picture of a droop, a cross section. It's kind of red. It's a type of each individual is termed a drooplet.
Oh, how
and many
lovely.
together form
Again,
an aggregate
another word
fruit.
you could definitely you could pepper your conversation with that this week. Oh, I'd really like some fruit, but probably not a droop for me today. I'm mindful of my teeth, but yes, I should. Well, then again, I'd come unstuck because I don't know what the alternative is for just stoneless fruit. Apparently, drupe comes from the Greek drupa or drupa for olive. So there you go.
And the term drupaceous is applied to a fruit having the structure and texture of a drupe. So, for instance, if you could describe someone, so if we have any literary types, any writers, and you can find a way to describe someone's character as drupaceous and have it actually make sense, you win Theo and Rob's literary prize of the week. You just have to submit your prose to us, and we will read it on air and wonder at your use of metaphor.
I like to think that I'm quite drupaceous, Rob. You know, sort of soft and approachable and sweet almost on the outside, but with a stony core.
That if you burrow too deep in,
watch yourself. It's like a mango. It's waiting in there for you.
Yeah.
So, or maybe next time, you could, next time you're lighting up a big spliff, you could say, you want to get drooped. You want to get drupaceous.
Wow.
Yeah, just, many uses, Rob, I think.
Many uses. So drupe is actually the category scientific name for stone fruit. I mean, all stone fruit are drupes. That is what Wikipedia seems to be telling us.
Seeing as we're talking about Greek words, I would like to share a little snippet from a story I read this week, which really amused me, and I think might amuse our loyal listeners as well. And it's to do with the great late philosopher Plato, who, I don't know if you read this story in Canada, but the Pompeii, where you recently were, there has been a discovery of a scroll which details the last few moments of Plato's life. And
really?
And this scroll describes several aspects of this moment, including this one, which really did raise a smile. So I'm quoting from The Guardian here direct, and it says, in a groundbreaking discovery, the ancient scroll was found to contain a previously unknown narrative how the Greek philosopher spent his last evening, describing how he listened to music played on a flute by a Thracian slave girl, which all sounds very peaceful, obviously apart from the fact that she was enslaved, but let's gloss over that. Then it goes on, despite battling a fever and being on the brink of death, Plato, who was known as a disciple of Socrates and a mentor to Aristotle, and who died in Athens around 348 BC, retained enough lucidity to critique the musician for her lack of rhythm, the account suggests. So he's lying there, moments from death, and this poor girl is being brought in to send him on his way to the great unknown, and he sort of manages to find breath to criticize her, to just point out that you call that 442, love? It's rubbish. Call yourself a musician? I just love the idea that in your dying moments, your last moment on this earth will be spent critiquing the efforts of others. I think much to be admired there. Well done, Plato.
And maybe much to make us take pause in admiring too much of Platonic forms and such. He was the man of the forms, right? The idea that there was some actual ideal of all the things that we see. So, the ideal tree or whatever, that there was an archetype of it somewhere in the ether, in some ethereal space from which all trees drew. And so, for instance, this flute girl, she was drawing from the form of music, but apparently rather poorly. But you have to imagine that Plato would have been a really shitty father, because just about everything you do would have been some sub-approximation of the ideal form that Plato had in his head. And so he was probably the hardest man in the world to please.
He was the sort of man who would have forever been correcting your spelling and your grammar. even when you were saying something quite profound. You'd say something like, I love you, Daddy. And he'd say, do you mean agape? Or do you mean... What form of love are you talking about, child? Make yourself clear.
Are you speaking about manly love or the type of love between a man and his pet?
I like that. I think, the sort of clearly the great man of ideas and philosophy who gave so much to the world, also just a miserable old pedant. So I think that's a lovely detail that was revealed.
It is.
In the ancient scrolls of Pompeii.
Another lovely detail that I would like to share if we had a website, which maybe one day we will, is this beautiful photo I found of droops in nature. Just I'll show Theo on the screen really quickly. Unfortunately, I can't show you listeners, but it's this lovely cornucopia of stone fruits, all opened, cut in half, largely bisected, showing their stone. It's a really jolly tableau, and I was thinking to myself that were I to have some marquetry done in my entrance hall, I may well consider a marquetry of summer stone fruit in their full glory, bisected right there at the opening of my house in all their drupaceous glory. So, should we leave our listeners for the week? And I think we've given them a lot to think about, a lot to reflect on.
I'd say so. And crucially, we are now 10-8 ahead, lest we forget the scores. Which means next time, caution to the wind, Rob. We can just really relax into it. Prepare yourself for lots more made-up words, or not made up, as it turns out. So yeah, go and enjoy your marquetry and your droopy fruits, and we will see you next time.
See you next time.
You've been listening to Two Across, a podcast by Theo and Rob Cole, music by Enthusiasts. We have a couple of ways of getting in touch with us if you feel so minded, and those are on Twitter at 2acrosspod. That's the number 2 spelt out, TWO across pod, and also Gmail, 2acrosspod@gmail.com. So do get in touch with us. We'd love to hear from you, and thanks for listening. Bye-bye.